All right. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the FF Face Off. And yes, this is a fantasy football podcast. And today we are giving you our reactions to week 7. We've got 2 Monday night games coming up here. So if you guys have any questions, we will answer those leading into the Monday night games. The Buccaneers wide receivers outside of Chris Godwin are ready to go. So if you gambled, rolled the dice, and had them in your lineup, then you get to hopefully enjoy a good night. But we will go through all that. We'll go through all the shock and awe that was week 7. My name is Michael Hoff. You can follow me on X at the FF Realist. Soon enough, I will have Mr. Ben, who is FF Rabbit Dad. He'll be on shortly. So it's actually my fault. We had some technical difficulties on top of me being in traffic and all that fun stuff. So hold on a second. So just hop in when ready. Hop in when ready. So there you go. So Ben will hop in when ready. All right. So there you go. But yeah. So a lot to react to here. I mean, obviously, from an NFL perspective, everybody's looking at the Giants and their collapse. But I mean, more so, what I would be looking at is that game that we got yesterday from Bo Nix on the comeback trail, 40 points. You know, you look at the previous week's 13.4, 17.9. It's his third 20-point game of the year. So curious to see how that goes. But we've got Rabbit Dad in here, so we're going to send him in right now. There we go. And there he is.
Hello.
What is
Sorry
up,
for the
sir?
delay. Just
No.
yeah, we got a little inclement weather here. All of a sudden, I was having troubles with my connection.
Well, the delay started with me, and then I had trouble connecting as well. And I don't even have bad weather here. So there you go.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but yeah, I figured we'd just get this push, and I figured you were on the way anyway. So there you go.
absolutely.
But how's it going? And by the way, Ben can be followed at FF Rabbit Dad. He loves himself a good tight end, loves himself some rabbit ears. But Ben, how's it going?
It's going quite well. Yesterday was an interesting day, fantasy wise and just football wise in general. And well, just here to kind of break it down and all get over it and get on with our lives and see what we got to look forward to. So I'm feeling
Yeah.
good.
I will quickly say I am still, because I am in my 40s, so I'm still tired from going to the Jet game yesterday and waking up. Shout out to KZ Sports Marketing for the hookup, but goddamn, thank God I'm not an actual Jet fan. I have never seen a building so lifeless,
Oh,
so helpless. I have never seen an offense. I have never seen an NFL offense in person that bland in my entire life. And I've been to games. It was it was bad. It was bad.
I believe it.
Um,
Looking at the
yeah,
score, it did not look fun at all. I'm like,
no, just anemic offense, the personification. But
mhm.
here we go with this. Let's actually go up here from Addis. Addis said, got JSN and Montgomery for a flex tonight. Who does he start? So I figured the Monday night questions would trickle in here.
Yeah.
Um, my quick answer would be JSN. I mean, he's one of the best wide receivers in fantasy football. He's been rolling. Ben, can you make a case to do Montgomery over JSN?
I mean, that's a really tough stretch. I guess the best you could say is that this last week they did talk about in Detroit about cutting back on Gibbs' work a little bit, giving Monty a little more.
Yeah.
But I mean, what? So maybe it'll be more of like a 40-60 Monty to Gibbs, maybe a 50-50. Even then, if it's half, it's a pipe. If you could say, oh, 2 touchdowns, then if I could guarantee he's getting 2 touchdowns, sure. But that's still rough.
I mean, JSN literally entered this week before anybody else played as the number 2 wide receiver behind Puka Nacua and scored at least 10 points in half-point formats in all 6 of his games. Had 2 games with 20 or more points. So, yeah, I think JSN's a play here.
Mm-hmm.
Albert comes in, says, do you trust Bo Nix going forward? I mean, I spoke briefly about this, the Broncos and Bo Nix before Ben got in here, but I mean, I trust Bo Nix. Do I trust Bo Nix to give me 40 points like he did? No. But, I expect Bo Nix to be Bo Nix. Hand me a 20-point game here or there. He's gonna underwhelm at times. But I mean, yeah, but I think Bo Nix can be good for fantasy. I think he's a better NFL quarterback than a fantasy football quarterback right now at this stage of his career. That could obviously change. But yeah, I trust him. I'm not don't anticipate what you got in week 7 every single week.
Yeah,
Ben,
and I see it the same way. As like, yeah, we got a big output from him this week, and those of us who have been rostering him all year, were very happy for it. Um, my couple of shares, like finally, like it looks like we're getting somewhere. But at the same time, yeah, 40 points, that's a lot to ask for. It's a lot to hope for. Even 30 is a lot for. I mean,
sure.
granted, there's that rushing floor that he has, but it hasn't been as prevalent this year yet. So I mean, I think we can still trust him as like that fringe, quarterback one, but as a every week kind of like, he's going to be a top 5 guy. I don't think we can
Yeah.
hope for that too much.
And also, Albert, I'll put it to you this way. Bo Nix, at least as per fantasy data scoring, Bo Nix is one of 6 quarterbacks to score at least 30 points in a given week. And all of them have done it once. So just, yes, trust them, but temper expectations if you're hot and bothered by week 7. Jared coming in. Good evening. 2 things. Should I accept this? I get Pacheco, Debo for Monty and Waddle. Also drop Henderson for Brashad Smith. See, I think Jared asked me this question this morning, if I'm not mistaken, on the old wonderful
Sure.
X app, which was working, unlike a lot of other apps today. I do think Travion Henderson is at a point where he's droppable. I just don't know if I do it for Brashad Smith. I guess we'll answer that back half of the question quick. Ben, I mean, so let's answer both ways. What are your thoughts on Travion Henderson? Because I have seen that a lot today on the app saying droppable, get rid of him, not doing anything. Would you drop him? And if you do drop him, are you dropping him for someone like a Brashad Smith?
I mean, yeah, what was it? He had like, was it just 4 carries this last week?
Yeah.
And it was just the Ramondre show. I think he might in redraft. I think he's droppable for the right guy, but I also don't think it's Prashad Smith. Granted, we did see Smith get 5 receptions this last game, and I think all or 4 of them were in the first 3 quarters, so they were before garbage time even. So there is some hope there, but I still think in that case, I would hold on to Henderson. But if there's a better guy there, maybe I would consider dropping Henderson for him. But
Yeah, Henderson actually only had 2 attempts
it was a
this
2,
week.
yeah.
2 attempts, no targets. Yeah, it makes me wonder what's going on behind the scenes there when Ramondre is fumbling 100 times. Every fantasy football analyst or player is saying, "Just put in Trevion. What are you doing?" And they're still going Ramondre. So I don't know if it's pass pro or what, but
Pass pro is one thing that stands out to me. But are you really giving up? You're really going to put a guy who keeps dropping the ball on the field as opposed to somebody who occasionally misses a block? I mean,
I'm just trying to make sense of it. Is all
yeah, I
because
trying to as well.
Pacheco and Debo for Monty and Waddle. I think I hang on to the Monty and Waddle side. I don't know if that's crazy. I mean, Tyreek being out. I know the Dolphins are a mess. I know Tua yesterday was disgusting, which probably prompts this question, or maybe that's why the other person is trading him to you. Oh yeah, you're trading him away. No, I would keep Waddle. I think Monty is better than Pacheco. And I'd rather have Waddle than Debo. If all things are equal in Washington, say Terry McLaurin's all revved up and ready to go, and Jaden Daniels is healthy and everything, there are some question marks looming there in Washington. I would take the Monty and Waddle side. What would you do, Ben?
I was thinking about this while you're talking about it, and I think I actually shifted over to the Pacheco Debo side. And it's
Ooh,
because we saw Hunt come out for a little bit in this last game. He did come back into the game after he got that slight injury, but he also left for a
sure.
little bit. Smith is doing the pass catching work in his role, but I mean Pacheco saw a bigger number of touches than he has in recent weeks. He had 15 carries. He granted it was only 57 yards, so it's not super productive. But if the Chiefs keep winning games, if they keep running up the score like they did, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it's going to be a lot more ground game work And if Hunt's getting tired or getting hurt, then it all goes to Pacheco with a little sprinkling of Smith. So I mean, yeah, I like Monty over Pacheco, and I like Debo over Waddle, and that's because the Tua situation scares the crap out of me.
Sure.
But I think just the potential that maybe Pacheco is going to continue to see you know, 13, 14, 15 or more carries in a game going forward. I think that tips the scale for me. So I would go Debo and Pacheco.
Okay. That's why I just think it's on a lower level in terms of, like the whole Joe Flacco comes into Cincinnati and they just say, hey, throw Jamar Chase the ball. It's on a lesser level. But if a quarterback comes in instead of Tua, it's just give Waddle the ball, will you?
Yeah,
Like, just throw it over.
probably should.
Again, lesser level. It's not Jamar Chase. Just whatever. By the way, feel free to hit the like button as long as you guys are in here. Um, Justin Kyle says he's up 8 points against his opponent. He's got Kenneth Walker and he has JSN. Do I have a shot at winning?
Ooh.
I'd love to double check what the weather is there, but initially off the bat, I don't love it. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Ben, do you want to give this guy some optimism or what?
Yeah, gosh, 8 points. I'm curious if
8
it's like
points.
half PPR, full PPR,
Yeah, he doesn't say
standard. That could
he
be an
did went
issue.
on to say he regretted benching Ibuka, which I had him bench too.
Yes.
It literally dropped within the last hour that he's playing. Scared he wasn't going to play, of course, and the only other option he had was Tez.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, I still would have gone K9 over Tez, I think, and I'm someone who hates the Seattle backfield.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much in the similar boat. I think with the information we had at the time, going with K9 was the right way to go. I didn't think Ibuka was going to play. I had a backup for him in every situation where I had him in. Like in one, I was going to start Hutchinson for the Texans tonight if
Sure,
Ibuka wasn't going. Yeah,
Oof,
yeah. That's how bad it got in one of my leagues.
things got
So
dark. Yeah,
yeah, they did, but luckily they got a little brighter for me. But that's why you always want to have that backup. That just even if it's like a dart throw from 50 yards away, just having that guy there, just like in case, like somebody who could see a big workload, like a Tez Johnson. But I think it's going to be really close for you. Especially, I mean, if it's PPR, I think it's not as bright of a outcome potentially coming forward.
tell
So
him, tell him, win or loss. What are you predicting? If you
I'll
had to
buy
predict right now, you
right
got to put your
now.
nuts on the table.
All
What are you
right.
doing?
If it's standard or half PPR, I'm saying you win. But if it's PPR, I'm saying you lose. Full PPR, you lose.
I'm saying if it's half or full, I think he loses. So I hope he's playing the soft porn version of fantasy football, which is standard leagues. So that would make me feel better about your shots, Justin. But good luck to you and thank you for the question. We've got Colin coming in here and saying Brian Thomas has been such a frustrating player to watch. So much talent. Just seems like his head is not right currently. Um, he is questionable now with that shoulder injury. But yeah, I mean, he didn't have a 10-point week till week 5, a double-digit point week till week 5. Then he had 10 points. Then he went ahead and had 19 points. That's half point scoring. And then last week, yesterday, I should say, just 4.6 points. I mean, the targets are there. He's just not doing anything with the targets. And I know some people have alluded to because people are enjoying Mac Jones' success in San Francisco and saying, was Mac Jones better for Brian Thomas than Trevor Lawrence was? And when you look at the numbers, I guess you can make the case, but I think Brian Thomas is still a player you have to put out there. I think it's also dependent on who else you have. How many wide receivers are you starting? Is he a flex option? Then do we have a running back? But I mean, Ben, I'm sure you're in enough leagues where I'm going to assume, you can tell me if I'm wrong. I assume you have a Brian Thomas share somewhere. Um, how are you navigating it? How are you handling it? And again, provided he is now questionable with a shoulder injury.
Yeah. No, it has been super frustrating. And he keeps showing, he keeps getting the targets. And every once in a while, he shows a little bit, like a couple weeks ago, he finally had a pretty decent fantasy day. But then, yeah, I mean, granted, yeah, the shoulder thing that took him out for the end of the game, and it's really frustrating. And yeah, I've got my fair shares of him. I actually had one league where I was so happy to get him and Nico on the turn, and that league has been a crap show so much that I had to trade Nico for a couple players earlier this year, and I
Hmm.
don't know. Yeah, it's one of those situations where we had so much promise and just it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, I'm
But
trying
that's
to
why we got DFS.
That is why I mean, and it's getting to that point for some people where it's time to pivot to DFS. So yeah. Jared did Jared did follow up at the Henderson thing because we did say
Okay.
he was droppable, but for the right guy. So he said, "Who would you consider dropping Henderson for in PPR?" Um, it's one of those things where I would like to go. I mean, you could if you want, Ben, you could take the lead on this, but I'm taking a look to see kind of what's available, at least in sleeper leagues. But do you have any thoughts that just kind of jumped off the bat there for you, or no?
I mean, I kind of was thinking the same thing as you. Go take a look and see what's there. Um, in PPR leagues, yeah, it's going to be rough. I mean, maybe,
It is rough.
yeah, maybe some people had to make a choice and cut a guy like Woody Marks. Like I had to do that in the league. If he fell out there, maybe a guy like Kyle Monangai is available and you can pick him up. Granted, it's not a huge PPR
True.
boost, but the numbers that he got, that in the last couple of weeks, it's showing us more usage, more opportunity that maybe they're going to split that workload and he goes from getting 5 or 6 touches to 12 to 15 a game, maybe. I mean, plus they're on a 4-game win streak, the Bears are. So just a couple names that come off top of my head and I see on the list here.
Yeah, those names sound fine. I ultimately think what I would tell you, Jared, is I would tell you to keep in mind that whatever player you're picking up to drop Trevion Henderson, it's not going to be like, oh, this is a great situation. Like it's not going to be sexy. It's not going to make you happy about doing it. I would even say maybe Henderson's just someone who's a bench player for you, and maybe you had expectations of otherwise, especially after watching the preseason.
You-
Um,
Plus,
you
if
know,
I could jump in one more,
yeah, jump in, yeah,
we got
oh,
the
yeah.
6 bye week teams this week. Somebody's going to have to make a hard decision. Maybe they cut somebody that's a bit more valuable because they have to fill a roster spot. So pay attention after those waivers run what players are available. It's one of those weeks where you could just be surprised what pops up there. Even I get surprised every year.
There is a brain underneath those rabbit ears, so there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Good call. So there you go. As we'll move on to three three P1C fail. There you go.
Epic
Try to
fail.
say faster, didn't work, but I failed at that. But he is saying Otten with Abuka and Evans active, which we now know, or Dalton Schultz. If it's a PPR format, I still think I'm leaning Cade Otten. I mean, Dalton Schultz really hasn't wowed anybody. I mean, Kadon's my answer as I look at something else. Ben, where would you go there in terms of Monday Night Football tight ends?
Yeah, if those are your options, it's definitely Kate Ott. And
Yeah,
even with Ibuka and Evans looking like they're back on the field, there's still a piece of the pie there, and maybe one or both of them has to, they have a little bit of snap count. Maybe they're not quite 100%. So I think Otten is definitely the way to go in any format.
I mean, mind you, I mean both tight ends aren't playing amazing, but yeah, I think I go Cade Otton there. I mean, Dalton Schultz hasn't had a game with 10 points yet. He's had 2 games with less than 5 points. This is all half point format stuff here. So yeah, I think I'd go Cade Otton there. But yeah, I would love to get a better tight end if personally next week. But there's always next week, right? So Nicodemus, which means that he knows a lot of things. He says, I have St. Brown to play tonight, and I can flex at Buka, Evans, or White. He's up 145 to 133. My opponent has JSN and the Seattle Seahawks defense full point per reception. So basically, he's asking us, with all that in mind, you're flexing one of these plays, one of these Tampa wide receivers, or Rashad White. I mean, I think I go Ibuka here personally. Um, Ibuka's been producing. He's been probably I'm more than sure he's been the most productive Tampa Bay wide receiver in terms of fantasy, especially with Evans being out and Godwin starting the year late. I think Ibuka's the answer for me. Ben, can you make a case for one of the other two options, or are you going with me?
I don't know if I can make a case for White, but I
Okay.
think that you can make a case for Evans by saying, all right, so he's just plain straight up been out for a number of games. And they've just been ramping him back up to playing speed, to playing health, and whatever. Maybe he's a little bit fresher. Maybe he's a little bit healthier because, like I said, he hasn't played in a few weeks. So, he said it's full PPR. So,
Yeah.
you could make that argument and say Evans might be the better play over Ibuka. I would personally still go Ibuka, but I wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't be making fun of you for going with Evans.
No, I wouldn't make fun either, but I'd still go Buka. And I mean, I will say, I mean, Lions tonight, um, yeah, they're allowing what the fourth most points to opposing wide receivers entering the week prior to anybody playing, of course. Um, so I mean, so there's promise there as long as these guys are upright. I mean, there's a reason why people were excited about the Tez Johnsons of the world when we didn't know if these guys were playing. So I think that's also something to keep in mind. But that's it for the questions for now. So if anybody has any other questions, feel free to jump in with a question. Hit the like and subscribe button if you'd be so kind. Um, Ben, I know I asked this last week. I didn't tell you today, so if this is putting you on the spot, you don't have to answer. But is there something you took away from what you saw yesterday in terms of fantasy? Anything that initially jumped out to you?
Well, man, Aranda Gadsden looks like he's going to be a big part of that passing offense going forward. I mean, I think I
Yeah,
touched on him last week too, but just what was it? 12 targets and just
yeah, I'm pulling it
he
up right
looks good. He
now.
looks like the real deal. Just we're getting rookie tight ends that are coming out of the work every week. It seems like this year, and it makes me happy. It's just maybe we're learning that these college tight ends are more NFL ready than they used to be. Because in past years we get like the Laporta breakout and nothing else, and we get the Brock Bowers breakup and nobody else is a rookie. And most years before that, and like nothing. Like usually you get a tight end who needs 2 or 3 years to get there. We've got a handful of tight ends already this year that as rookies that look like they're already ready to wheel and deal on a regular basis. So just something
Yeah,
that's changing in the culture of from college to pro football. I think it's cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the season holds for that.
yeah. Gadsden wound up catching 7 of 9 targets for 164 yards and a touchdown. If you're in PPR, that accounts for 29.4 points. Shoo-wee. And I will tell you that made me feel better. The other day I traded Harold Fannin and Drake May for Jaden Daniels and a future draft pick, and I still had a Rondé Gatson in the lineup, so I plugged him in. Um, Thankfully, the Jaden hamstring injury doesn't sound like it'll be too serious. A little bit of a reaction Monday spot, but yeah, Gatson does look like he's starting to get it over there. So let's hope that continues, and any tight end production makes Ben a happy guy.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Jared comes in here again, says, any news if Aaron Jones will be back this week? He has Mason. Um, I don't see anything yet, Jared. I was just looking that over. I don't think you would hear anything yet. I think that's more of like a midweek spot in terms of how practice starts to evolve. But yeah, I mean, Ben, you haven't heard anything about Aaron Jones, right?
No, I mean, I haven't heard anything yet. I looked at it a lot this morning because obviously I do my weekly Vikings Uncovered video for the Uncovered group, the Undroppables.
There you go.
So I look at that and I keep my ear to the ground for a lot of it. It is a Thursday night game, and this is the week that they could open the window for after being on the IR. But like I said, I haven't heard anything yet. I haven't looked in a couple hours yet either. But I would think that if they were planning on doing it, they would have said something by now. But again, they could wait until Tuesday or Wednesday and be like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, open window. all right, he's playing Thursday. Like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And you know what? I'll ask you this, since you're you do a lot of the Viking stuff. If when Aaron Jones returns, because it's not an if, it's a when. Um, if you're someone that has stock in Jordan Mason, how do you kind of evaluate that in terms of what the backfield might look like there in Minnesota?
I think it's going to stay, or it's going to be a more, it's going to be kind of a 50-50 split with the two. Maybe it goes like a little 60-40 or 55-45 towards Mason because he's been doing so well between the tackles. And that's his forte. Whereas, Aaron Jones has been a very balanced and a very, very good receiving running back. So I think he comes in and gets, comes in, takes the majority of the passing work. We probably hear little to nothing of Xavier Scott the rest of the season, but he'll still be around to spice things up. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty much an even split once Jones is back in the fray.
And we do have so we'll go from Vikings, which is one thing you enjoy, to we'll go to a tight end question, which
Yay.
you also enjoy.
Yes, I do.
Fannin and I assume this is Gadsden. For the fill-in for McBride, the Cardinals are one of the 6 teams on bye this week. I'll pull those teams up shortly and let you guys know. But my quick answer would be Fannin based on opponent. I think the matchup is better in terms of tight ends and fantasy points. But Ben, since you are the tight end aficionado, I will kick it to you. Fannin or Gadsden this week as a fill-in for Trey McBride.
Man, that is a tough one. I think you're going to be happy either way.
Sure.
I think I'm going to go Fannin just because of the tight end usage they've seen in Cleveland with Gabriel and his liking to pass, throw the shorter passes more often than not. God, it feels. I mean, it's just. I also feel like there's going to be a bit of a bit trouble for the Chargers this week when it comes to having time in the pocket. Like we know that they're missing their 2 tackles. I think they're still missing Alt anyways.
I would assume they're expected to, but
so
given the short week,
they're missing their bookend tackles. So maybe Gadsden and Disley both have to stay back, block, or at least do shunts. So I think that's going to lean more toward Fannin being the better pick out of those two, just because I feel like I said, like Gabriel, he likes throwing those short passes, and he's 2 of the last 3 games has been over 30% target share to the tight ends, and probably don't have Fannin again, or not
right.
Fannin, Njoku again.
Njoku, yeah. 3P1C fail came back in here. I said that one faster this time, so I feel like I did not fail. I feel like I succeeded there. He said, still prioritize Gadsden over Loveland, right? Even with the Cole Kmet back injury. Ben, I'll let you take this one first because I take all the questions first. I'll give it to you first.
Yeah,
even
all
though
right.
I think I know what your answer is.
I think I'm going with Gadsden again. He's just. We still haven't seen a whole lot from Loveland. Granted, yes, that the Kmet injury could keep him out or at least limited in games or, practice throughout the week. But Gadsden has shown over these last couple of weeks that he can be relied on, that he can turn in a ton of yards on his catches. I think he's got 232 over the last 2 games. I think because he just had 160, or maybe I'm mixing up my tight ends now. So many tight ends to talk about. But yeah, the Chargers with Gadsden, I think that's the better call until we see Loveland do something with more than 3 catches. I still don't like I don't want to lean toward him yet.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I would go Gadsden as well. I just Loveland so far this year, half point formats, he's got 11.8 points scored. People would have thought the way people were so excited when he was drafted, albeit when he was drafted to the Bears, there were a contingency of people that were concerned because of Cole Kmet being there. People would have expected Colson Loveland to get 11.8 points in half point formats in 1 game.
Yeah.
Not in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games played this year.
Yeah, I
That's,
think what we are seeing from teams like the Browns, where they take a late tight end and match them up with their experienced one. I think we were hoping from something like that from the
sure.
Bears, but at the same time, we know that they came in with multiple weapons in the passing game. Um, I feel like, yeah, after a couple of years, you're going to see a lot of good stuff from Loveland. I think we just need a little bit of time. Maybe it's the speed of the game. Maybe it's just his injuries that have been holding him back. Maybe it's a combination of both. For
So
now, I'm not
you,
a Loveland fan.
yeah. So you would, yeah, I agree, and I'm with you. So you would say this has more to do with too many weapons in the offense and injuries, and not just people getting too hot and bothered about a rookie and it not panning out right away.
Yeah, like, and I've been on record saying that I think that they made a mistake taking him as the first tight
Yeah,
end
you did. I
overall in
remember.
the
Yeah.
draft. And but at the same time, he's got a lot of the building blocks to be a very good tight end for a number of years. So, but I think just like the situation and the unfortunate circumstances with injuries has kept him from being able to progress as soon as many people would have hoped.
Yeah, it's fair enough. And so thank you for that. If you have any other questions, feel free to chime in or hit the like button. But if I was gonna go with one thing that I learned, and I learned it, not even learned it just looking at numbers, but learned it because I actually have the player in fantasy. Don't worry that George Kittle gave you nothing yesterday. I think that they had an idea to run the ball a lot, which they did. I think that was their plan from the jump. And when they do that, that's when Kittle gets used a lot. I mean, this isn't breaking news. This has happened before. I do think it's actually fantastic that in the post game, George Kittle apologized to anybody who started him in fantasy or anybody who bet on him. So that's kind of nice of him. But so the thing I learned by looking at what he gave us yesterday, which wasn't anything, is don't worry about it. If you've been stashing Kittle for this long, he's gonna be just fine. Um, I I also just learned that these Monday reaction shows tend to be tight end centric. But yeah, so there you go. I mean, Ben, you'd be right there with me on the Kittle thing, right?
Absolutely. No, I love Kittle. It's just give him some time. He just came back at injury, and they're doing well on the ground. I mean, McCaffrey looked like McCaffrey last
Mm.
night. I mean, just
He's
it's pretty. It's beautiful.
I mean, he's looked like McCaffrey all year, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. He has.
And by the way, so much for him giving us that scare just a couple of days before week 1. Remember that? When
Oh, I remember. I was in on the hype this year with McCaffrey. I took
so
him
was
all
I.
over the place. I was like, "Don't do this to us again, man, please." Not the year that I bite. Not the year that I bite.
The other question, the other thing I wanted to ask you, and again, if anybody watching has a question, feel free to chime in. We will answer it right away. But I'm curious for your thoughts on if we could shift to quarterbacks. And how much you love to talk tight ends. But I mean, we talked about Bo Nix, we talked about the Broncos, but they did go up against Jackson Dart yesterday of the New York Football Giants. And I mean, this is now the second consecutive week in which Jackson Dart has had 20 plus points. In his first start, he had 19.8. I mean, his worst fantasy performance so far this year has been 15.6 points. Where are we on Jackson Dart in terms of fantasy? Are we getting to, like, I have him in a super flex league, so obviously he's out there. Where are we at in terms of superflex or maybe one QB utilizing him? Is that opponent dependent, or how are you kind of evaluating what's going on there with Jackson Dart?
I looked at Dart a lot actually. There is I think he's a startable quarterback every week, regardless of the matchup. I mean, he's got over 50 yards in 3 of his last 4 games on the ground.
Yep.
He's got 2 multi-touchdown passing games. I mean, just that rushing floor being as high as it has been now. I mean, how could you not want to start him every single week if you got him on your team? And going into today, or as of last night at least, about
Sure.
55% of fantasy leagues he was still available in. 55% like one quarterback leagues. Like people need to go pick him up. um,
I mean, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your
oh
point.
yeah, just And then you got a good matchup coming up this week against the Eagles, who just gave up 313 yards to Carson Wentz, who looked like dog crap, throwing the ball all over the place where it shouldn't have gone. So, no, get Dart, go get him.
Yeah, tell me if you think this is crazy. This just popped in my head. Just looking at his numbers, Jackson Dart to me, for fantasy purposes alone, and for nothing else, looks like a poor man's Jalen Hurts without a tush push.
I love that that comparison. That is quite poetic, actually.
Like, you look at the passing yards, 111, 202, 195, 283, but yet he's got 2 games with 20 or more points and 1 game with 19.8 because, like you alluded to, he's running the ball. He's had a rushing touchdown in 3 out of the 4 games.
Yeah. Three rushing touchdown, 3 out of 4 games, 50 over 50 rushing yards in 3 of the 4 games, including 58 and a touchdown. Was it 50? It was 58 against the Eagles a couple weeks ago.
Against the Eagles. Yep. No, you nailed it. Yeah, it was just yesterday where he decided to have just 11. But then again, he only had 5 carries as opposed to 10, 7, and 13 that he had in the weeks prior. So take that for what you will. But maybe I'll post that on Twitter and see if everybody destroys me. But I shouldn't say Twitter.
I got your back.
There you go. Shouldn't say Twitter though, because Elon will make sure that my tweet does not go through the algorithm then, or my post. Damn it. Yeah, fuck it. I won't do it. CP1C fail comes back in, says need Superflex help. Seen a lot of QB injuries and benchings this week. How would you prioritize Andy Dalton, Kirk Cousins, Marcus Mariota, and Tyrod Taylor? I'll say this. Even though there wasn't a declarative answer from the Jets, I have to assume Tyrod Taylor is starting. Listen, I know there's a contingency of people. Our own Steve D'Angelo loves Justin Fields, but I just my God, man. It's either 20 points or it's 5 points or less. Like, there's no in between with this guy. It's frustrating. And when it gets to the NFL, I mean, obviously, if you're doing that little production fantasy, it's probably not working out on the field NFL wise either. So I think Tyrod Taylor starts. I will say, of these names, they did pretty much say that Bryce Young is going to be not available for week 8. So I think in that case, Andy Dalton would be the answer. I know the MRI on Mariota on Jaden Daniels, I apologize, wasn't as bad as they thought. And, we'll see what happens with Penix, who's also on the injury report. I mean, I don't know, Ben. It seems like you'd want to go with the one where you have the most clear information on, though.
I agree. Dalton's the guy on the top for me, and it's you're not getting a flashy rushing floor. He's just a good, solid field general. He has been pretty much his whole career with some spikes here and there. So he's the first guy for me. The second one, probably Tyrod, because again, like Mike said, I don't think that there's anything the Jets should be thinking anything other than, all right, we screwed up. Let him play. And I like Justin Fields too. I've been a fan of him since his rookie year, thinking like, oh, this is going to be a great fantasy play for a number of years. But and he does put up good numbers. But the problem is he puts up crap numbers half the time.
Yeah.
And then it's like for me, it's kind of maybe Mariota before Cousins if you really had to order them. So it'd be Dalton, Taylor, Mariota, Cousins. But I don't think you need to go any deeper than Taylor.
Yeah, I agree, and I would agree with the Mariota over Cousins only on the idea that, not to say that I won't even say that actually. I think it's more so the fact that we've already seen an injury to Jaden Daniels, so maybe the Commanders are like, all right, let's not rush this here. Let's let him sit a week. So I could see that happening too. As opposed to Penix, it doesn't sound as serious. I think it was a bone bruise, perhaps. Not to say bone bruise doesn't hurt. But yeah. So I don't know, but whatever. That's kind of what I'm throwing out there. And we do have As Ben loves a tight end question, I love me a kicker question. It's coming back in, says also with your kicker ranking, also love your kicker rankings. Thank you. Not sure if it got updated. Still Fairbairn over Myers this week. It is still Fairbairn over Myers this week. For whatever reason, the Texans give up no points to kickers so far this year. They've given up on average 2.6 points per game to the kicking position. They gave up 2 in week 1, 2 in week 2, 5 in week 3, then 0, and then 4. And then they had their bye week. So for whatever reason, whatever's going on in Houston, they're not giving up points to kickers. So with that in mind, I'll go Fairbairn over Myers. So that was my pick there. So Ben, I'm sure you've done a ton of kicker content, and that would be your answer too, right?
Well, I love I love kickers. I've always been a fan of kickers. I still think they're necessary. Hell, I used
Right.
to do a donation every year based on my kicker's performances in one of my fantasy leagues. And just,
Nice.
donate to the local humane society, just like for every point that my kicker got me during the season. So
That's fantastic. I mean, the whole bit is if kickers are in your league, then they matter. That's it. That's
absolutely.
it. And then if they're not, then don't worry about them,
Yeah.
but,
Let
so
us have our kickers and you don't have to.
right. There you go. We can all live happily ever after. That's it.
Everybody can be happy.
That's it. One other thing I wanted to throw, and by the way, if you have something, you feel free to throw it out there. I'm just kind of looking at some stuff here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to answer. We'll probably go another 10 minutes because we're getting up against 7:00 with the games. Right, the first game 7:00, I believe.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
okay. So Chris Olave is somebody that I roasted on, so not him personally, because I wouldn't do that. Don't do that, people. That's
Oh.
stupid. Don't do that. I was just mocking the whole idea of how many targets he had, and yet he was like a wide receiver 20 or worse, as opposed to like a Puka Nakua, same amount of targets, and he's the wide receiver 1. Chris Olave, and ironically enough, playing against him in my home league yesterday, decided he was going to have himself a fantastic week. Wide receiver right now, currently entering the week, wide receiver 5, caught 5 of 7 targets, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns to the tune of 26.8 points. I guess my question to you, Ben, is if you're somebody who rosters Chris Olave, do you think that this means that you can now rely on him moving forward? Or is this more just 26.8 is great, but we're probably going to get more like 10 to 12 like we've been getting all year?
I mean, I think we got a spike week here from him, obviously.
Sure.
When you get more than like 20, 25 points for a wide receiver, you're like, yeah, it's a great week. But I think the number of targets he's getting does make him somebody that you can consistently rely on. Just having that safe target reception floor, even if you're not getting a ton of yards from it. I mean, especially in the PPR and half PPR leagues, you're making bank on a guy that probably by the end of the season he's gonna well outperform his ADP, which is what you want from all your players in fantasy. So
Sure.
even if it's just a little bit or a lot, any performance over ADP is beautiful, and I think you're going to continue to get that from Olave. Spencer Rattler is looking solid. People just crapping on him in the last couple of years, like, oh, he's never going to be a good quarterback. Oh, look, he was bad last year. I mean, he's looking pretty damn decent this year, even with a little bit of scrambling ability, and he's just relying on Olave because he knows who his pass catcher is.
They're also, I'm trying to pull it up here. They're also, the Saints have been throwing the ball a ton, at least especially out of the gate to start the year. I'm just checking out something here. In terms of pass attempts on a per game basis, let me see. But they've dropped down a bit. They're 34.1 with the best team in the NFL being the Chargers at 39.3, but still 34.1 is pretty darn good, especially when the lowest is, 27.2. It's like a log jam down there of, those 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so DeAndre Swift is another one that kind of jumped out to me a little bit, kind of an under the radar thing here. I mean, we talked about the Bears earlier. You talked about how many games they won in a row now. 25.5 points in week 6 on Monday Night Football, and then comes out and scores 20.8. So it's back-to-back games. My dog is barking because he likes DeAndre Swift, but that's back-to-back games with 20 or more points. Is this what it's gonna? I mean, you mentioned picking up Monungai, but potentially is this DeAndre Swift's fantasy backfield?
I mean, it kind of feels like it started to evolve into that. I mean, I was one of the people who looked at it like, all right, Ben Johnson's in town. Ben Johnson already was tired of DeAndre Swift once in Detroit. So it's only going to be a matter of time before it's the Roshan Johnson, Kyle Monangai show. Well, Roshan's not doing anything. And now Monangai has just had double digit touches and performed well with them. I think it's going to turn into a kind of like a split, like the majority of the NFL does. We're not going to lean on one guy, and if he is able to break out and have some good performance with limited touches, all the more power to him. I mean, I don't know his contract status off the top of my head. I want to say it's not much, but regardless, I think you can continue to get decent numbers out of Swift as Monangai continues to be an active and significant role in the Bears offense. I mean, yeah, 4 games in a row, their running is doing really well, and it's not taken away from the passing either.
Yeah, and he's not giving you I was just looking at this too. He's not giving you anything via the passing game, really. What is this? He hasn't had more than he had 4 receptions in week 4, but outside of that, 3, 3, 3, then the 4, then 2, and then yesterday with the 1. So actually, in the games that he's caught less receptions, he's actually had better fantasy production. I mean, for whatever that, I mean, figure that out. But and then you mentioned Swift's contract. There is a potential out in 2026. He would be an unrestricted free agent in 2027. So that's just good old Spotrac to the rescue.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, we could start to wrap things up. Is there anything that we didn't get to that maybe you want to bring up? Anything that stood out to you? I mean, you mentioned you were doing some work earlier today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I looked at I look at a lot of the Viking stuff, obviously, and doing a
Sure.
video for them once a week and whatnot. It's I first thing I want to say is something that I noticed is, and we kind of referred to it earlier when we were talking about, don't tweet out people. I don't know if you saw the tweets, the direct messages to Isaiah Rodgers today.
No.
Some ignorant jerk ass Vikings fan, I'm assuming Vikings fan, decided to tweet him, direct message him just 12 messages in a row, and they got worse and worse. Racial slurs and just derogatory crap. And like, all of us need to stop doing that. I know every once in a while I'll tweet out at an athlete or whatever, but I'm never going to do that kind of ignorant shit. Just let's be better people. It wasn't okay. It's never going to be okay to leave it. Just leave that out. It's a game and we're all just having fun with it.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that as well. Yeah, I think it's one thing to just kind of poke fun and but it's another thing to go into someone's personal messages and just start, especially when you get to a racial slur standpoint. That's when it's like maybe you ought to sit back and not even take a drink because you shouldn't have any.
Go outside, take a walk. Don't watch the game. Don't
Touch
listen
grass
to it on the radio.
Yeah,
go touch some
stuff.
grass.
Yeah.
And just walk down the street and go look at a flower.
There you go.
Jump on a swing and go back and forth a little bit. Just do something.
Buy a snow cone before it gets too cold.
Yeah, snow cone. There you go. Or a hot dog if you got one nearby.
There you go. Put some chili and cheese on that. There you go. And then spend some time in the bathroom. 3P1C fail. We'll make this our last question, but because waiver wires are coming up, we will have a waiver wire show, I believe, tomorrow evening. That should be Ernie and Steve, I believe. But he's any sneaky waiver wire picks this week, like a Rondé went under the radar last week. I mean, I'll say this. I mean, this is a kicker thing. I'll say real quick. I'll just get this out. This wasn't what I was going to say, but Jake Moody, we'll see what happens there with Cairo Santos when he's going to be available. But I mean, back-to-back weeks with double-digit points is a nice, favorable matchup this week. Only rostered in, I think, 13 to 20% of leagues. So That's a spoiler alert for my streamer video that's coming out on Kickers tomorrow. But I mean, if I'm looking at any other names, I mean, I would say this: you can't like Josh Reynolds. Some people talked about him with the Jets last week because of Garrett Wilson. When you watch that offense play, it doesn't matter that opportunity is available when they can't complete passes. I mean, I think you're monitoring. To me, I think the big thing is I'm monitoring the Commanders' passing situation. Like if guys like Chris Moore are still out there, and if Debo doesn't play, and if things continue with Terry, like I would kind of maybe monitor that a little bit. So because they can't throw the passes all to Zach Ertz, so that's kind of something I would keep an eye on. Ben, do you have a specific name, perhaps, of somebody you might be looking to target in your leagues?
I do actually, and I can mention him now that my wife has left the room.
There you go.
It's the Green Bay Packers running back Emmanuel Wilson. We're
Okay.
coming up on one of these nasty 16 bye weeks.
Yes.
There's going to be teams that are going to have to go and look at a guy who's getting 4, 5, 6 touches a game, which Wilson's getting. And we saw Josh Jacobs pop up on the injury report this year, so his rostership spiked. Wilson's rostership went up a little bit, but it's still pretty low. It's still, I want to say, it's still it's over 80% in a lot of leagues. At least over 70 in most. But yeah, go get him, because if Jacobs were to miss time or something happens in a game, he's the next guy up. It doesn't look like Lloyd. It's been Wilson who's gotten on the field. He's getting touches. He also goes up this week against the Steelers defense, who's actually not been that strong this year, if you haven't noticed. Over the last 5 games, in 4 of them, they've either given up 100 yards rushing, 38 receiving yards to 100 yards rushing to one back, 38 receiving yards to one back, a touchdown, or a combination of any 2 of those. For a touchdown in the yardage anyways. But so there's a little bit of production there, and just a little bit could be enough to help you through one of these really tough bye weeks. Plus, then, he's one of the primary handcuffs going forward, in my opinion, as well.
I dig it. 3PC1 fail came back in and just said, love the Moody call. Now I'm wondering if Koo gets an opportunity now after yesterday. I mean, I would think there is going to be some kicker things happening with the Giants. I will just say, though, when they did sign Koo, a lot of the reports I saw were practice that he was literally shanking kicks. I heard he hit a player on the sideline with a kick at one point. That was with a kickoff, though, to be fair. And not that it makes it any better, but whatever. So I'll say this, back to the Moody thing, and then I'll tell you guys the teams that are on bye, and then we'll wrap this puppy up. I think that if Pinheiro comes back because of his accuracy, Moody's going to be out, even as well as Moody's played. The Giants would trip over themselves to pick up the phone and call Moody when he's getting to O'Hare Airport and telling him to just fly on into JFK or whatever, Trenton or whatever the fuck Jersey has. Shitty airports, Jersey Transit. Terrible way to travel, by the way. But yeah, so keep that in mind. Teams that are on bye. Ben mentioned it multiple times. 6 teams on bye: Detroit, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, the Rams to be specific, Arizona, Seattle, and Jacksonville. So a little bit of a bye week apocalypse. We got through the Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, even though Lamar's hurt being on bye. We got through that, so we can get through this together. But yeah, Ben, anything else to say before we ride off into the sunset?
Well, you Brian Thomas Jr. managers, you don't have to worry about it this week.
There you go. Power of positivity. Silver lining spot. There you go. All right. Well, until next time, folks, stay thirsty. Be kind to one another. We'll catch you on the flip side, and cheers.